Welcome to Theme Weavers, your weekly wisdom for weaving yoga themes into your classes to inspire your students. We're your hosts, Heidi
and Farin.
Welcome to episode 14 of Theme Weavers. Today we are going to talk about Saucha, the first Niyama mentioned in the Yoga Sutras, which is found in both Sutra 2.40 and 2.41. If you don't know what this is, or you want to learn about how to weave it through your class, then listen up. In case this is the first episode you're listening to, please check out episode 2 of the Theme Weavers podcast for details and background on the structure of how and why to weave themes throughout your yoga classes. If you choose to use today's teaching on Saucha, purity, as your theme while using the gift of our inspo sheet found in the link of the show notes below, then please find a way to turn our voices into yours. Make this theme authentic to you specifically.
Yeah, thanks, Heidi. So before hopping into Saucha as a Niyama, just a reminder about where we have been and what Niyamas are in the first place. So if the yamas of the Yoga Sutras were about how we interact with others and the world around us, the Niyamas are now designed to show respect for our own bodies and minds. So it's more internal. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
It can feel a bit more concrete when we look at our actions towards others, and it can feel like more of a challenge as we go inward. As we enter into the second limb of the eight-limbed path, the niyamas show us the foundational practices that sustain a life based on love, a life that can help us become still. And in that stillness, we learn more about ourselves and begin to wake up to the reality of our existence.
All right, I'm with you, Farin. So what I understand about Saucha is that it's about cleanliness. I have a really messy life. It drives my parents crazy when they come to my house and our sink is full of dishes and we have piles of stuff on the stairs to bring upstairs, but we never remember to bring it up. So on the outside, I'm not super organized, but I'm not dirty or anything, but I'm certainly not as clean as my parents are. Is that what Saucha is about, Farin?
Yes, that's part of it. And I guess this is where we're the opposite, Heidi, because I'm so neat and tidy. I could not stand to have any item of clutter out anywhere. So it probably drives me crazy
too. We found our difference. I mean, if I didn't have children, I think I might be a little bit neater and tidier, but it's just like constant stuff everywhere. But you have children. They're about the same age as mine.
So that's where I let go, I think. The rest of my house is super clean and tidy, but my kids' rooms is like, it's whatever. It's them. So their rooms are more messy. But anyways, Saucha is more than just keeping our physical environment clean. So yeah, we can keep ourselves clean on our outside environments, and we can also keep ourselves clean on the inside through asana, pranayama, and right eating practices, and right attitudes. The Yoga Sutras say, when the body is cleansed, the mind purified, and the senses controlled, joyful awareness needed to realize the inner self also comes. I think that means that if we're to find true happiness, we need to not only clean up the space around us, but clean up our own thoughts as well. The good news is, this is exactly what yoga is all about. It's about getting curious and waking up to the things we can do to keep our lives clean, both on the outside and the inside.
I love it. So we have a lot of problems in our lives. We keep talking about these in every episode, and we want these sutras that we're learning about to help us solve problems. So with Saucha, I was thinking about what problems it can solve. So I'm thinking about the chaos and clutter that surrounds us, or at least me, not Farin, both externally and internally. Our busy lives often leave little room for maintaining cleanliness, not just in our physical spaces, but also within our minds. The problems that we face today, all the stress, the overwhelm, and a sense of disconnection, I've talked about this before in other episodes, these can all be addressed when we practice Saucha too. Our external clutter often mirrors our internal clutter. And when I say that and I think about what I'm saying, that must mean that I have a lot of internal clutter happening in my mind, which is not true. I do. It's one of the reasons why I love yoga so much, because it starts to help me like sweep out all that internal clutter. And often I want to go home and like clean my house too after a yoga class. But interesting. Maybe the internal clutter also mirrors our outside clutter. But when our surroundings are chaotic, it can impact our mental state, leading to increased stress and distraction. That actually, before I keep talking, makes me think about with all of the things on social media. I hadn't been on any social media in over a week. And it was because the external pain and suffering and clutter in the world was making my internal pain and suffering and clutter go off the hook. And I couldn't regulate my nervous system because of all of the upsetting, stressful, and chaotic things I was seeing. It was impacting deeply my internal state. And so I knew until I didn't clean up my outside influences of what I was seeing, could I clean up how I was feeling and regulate myself internally? And those kind of temperature checks, I think, are really important. I think you found that also, Farin, like when you did your fall cleansing thing that you did, right?
Yeah, for sure. Cleaning up the outside and even cleaning up just like what I ate. I remember just eating the same thing over and over again for the 3 days. I was eating khichdi, which is basically like an Indian beans and rice. So it's really sustainable. It's a whole like complete protein. And I wasn't like on a fast, like I'm starving myself, but I was eating the same thing over and over. And I remember craving just like the simplest, like, I just want to eat an apple. Like I want to eat a banana, like these whole foods. And my eating just got like so clean, like where I didn't even want the clutter, the junk food, the chips, the cookies, like anything. Like I wanted to stay clean because I was like already doing it.
Because it felt good. It made you feel good internally.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know this is obviously not the same for you, or maybe it is actually the same for you, and it's just harder for me. So when I have a clean house, when I eat clean, like you just talked about, and when I take care of my body physically, I just have an overall sense of ease and contentment. And when I do the opposite, my house is a disaster and I eat like crap and I'm totally sedentary, I tend to feel like junk emotionally as well. And if that's the case, don't you think it would always be easy to just practice Saucha and have a clean outer and inner life then?
Absolutely. I think that's why I do practice this one so much. I try to keep everything nice and tidy on the outside. That way it helps me feel less stressed on the inside because everything is just like nice and orderly. And then my thoughts can be more orderly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as nice as it sounds, there are challenges to practicing Saucha, and they're real. They're real freaking challenges. Our world is filled with constant stimuli, just like social media. It's constantly there and it's constantly dragging us in and helping us to keep scrolling. So maintaining purity and cleanliness can seem like a daunting and completely overwhelming and insurmountable task. The fast-paced nature of our lives in 2023 make it really hard and difficult to find the time and energy to declutter our physical spaces and minds. The to-do lists are so long, and the urges to just consume all the things around us, like binge watching something on Netflix or mindlessly scrolling on social media, make it hard to make the time and space to live a clean life.
It really does. But the positive results of practicing Saucha in our everyday lives are completely transformative. Like you saw with your cleanse, and like I've seen when I make the space to do this. When you cultivate cleanliness in your environment, organizing your space, decluttering your surroundings, you create a sense of calm and clarity. So, do you ever rage clean? Like you're in a really bad mood, and so you put on some like rage, angry music, and then you like angry clean around your house, and like you're all sweaty and like you do all that like angry, mad cleaning and reorganizing. And then all of a sudden you're done and you sit back and you just like feel good. You're not angry anymore.
Yes, I love rage cleaning.
I love it because that external cleanliness starts to translate into internal peace, fostering a clearer mind and a more focused approach to life.
For sure.
A real thing. You go in mad, you come out clean. And I don't know about you, but sometimes with 2 kids and the dog and the cat and the overall daily exhaustion, I know it's best for me and I'd be happiest if I clean up and do all the things around the house that need to get done. But it just feels like too much at that moment. It's like, even though I know it will make me feel good and be positive for me and my family, it just feels like the last thing on the laundry list to get to do. And so it's the last thing I get to, even though it makes me feel better. I also have trouble knowing what to get rid of when I'm cleaning and what I'll regret one day having purged. But I guess that reminds me of the practice of aparigraha and not clinging or grasping for what's not mine or what I don't need anymore, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And actually that it just made me think of something else, of like tips that I give people for who get overwhelmed with cleaning like their entire house. It's like, just clean one little section, like clean off the top of your desk, or like clean out one cabinet in the kitchen or something. Like, it doesn't have to be a huge deep cleaning to really practice Saucha. You can do it like incrementally, and you can also do that on your mat.
Are you saying that it's sort of like my back pocket theme that we talked about last week about the effort of cleaning one small thing and abhyasa, and not the outcome of having a spotless house, that vairagya? The outcome's not the end. It's like the practice of the doing.
Yes, Heidi, you're always coming back to that theme that I hate, but you're right. You're completely right.
I love how we see all of these things. You can do them in isolation, but like this whole bird's eye view of how all these different things connect and relate is pretty powerful.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, so despite the challenge that I can't find the time or I don't know what to get rid of, when I imagine starting my day in a clean, organized space, I can completely envision how that positively impacts my mental state throughout the day. Saucha teaches us the importance of creating this harmonious environment that supports our well-being, even when it's challenging, because it feels so good at the end.
Yep.
So how do we bring this into class, besides like showing up to class with a broom and telling people to take care of the yoga studio? Could you imagine if you taught all class holding like a Swiffer?
I think it's more about the metaphorical cleansing when you get onto your mat. So you can approach your mat with hopefully a clean mind or a clean attitude, right? That you're about to practice this cleanliness, and hopefully that translates throughout your practice. But as we practice, we remind students with our thematic through line phrase. We can use one that says, as you move through each pose, notice your breath cleansing your body and purifying from within. So I use this as a tool a lot, is like if I'm teaching Saucha, we use our breath as our cleansing breath. And I keep saying the word cleansing over and over and over again to just remind us of Saucha.
Sounds like you're trying to drop a hammer of cleanliness, Farin.
Drop the hammer, cleanliness. We keep coming back to the breath and the cleanliness of breath, and how you can use your breath to cleanse your body and kind of sweep the impurities away. So another through-line phrase we could use is focus on how your body feels in this moment, allowing your body to experience a sense of purity and balance. And then coming back to the breath, with each exhale, release any mental clutter, letting go of thoughts that no longer serve you. And lastly, mindfully engage in your practice, observing your movements with clarity and intention.
I like it. So if you download our inspo sheet found at themeweaversyoga.com/episode 14, linked below in the show notes, we list all of these out for you and more. We have our typical inspirational quotes that remind us of the practice of Saucha, some songs that bring the theme to life, as well as mantras and mudras, pranayama, postures, and meditations to weave into your class. What would you do, Farin, though, for a peak pose, do you think, for Saucha?
Ooh, so I can't think of exactly a peak pose, but I know that I use a lot of twists when I teach Saucha, because it's kind of like we're wringing out the body of impurities and things that don't serve us. So anything with like a twist in the end, like even a twisted chair. But I also love to just use an action, like a sweeping action, in a way of like you're cleansing, you're sweeping. So I would like take my arms and like sweep them to one side and then sweep them to the other side. Like we're twisting our body like in our torso, but then our arms are doing this like sweeping action. It just further it drops the hammer with that Saucha.
I love that. I love when we can find as many ways as possible to bring the theme into our class with our words, our postures, our actions, right? The music. Yeah. I'm now like picturing you. See, the Swiffer would be a good thing to have in class. You could use it as a prop, like a yoga tool to help you as you balance and sweep.
Ooh.
Could you imagine showing up for a yoga class and the teacher has out sweepers as your props? That's a new one.
Oh, it would be so good. What if we brought in like little miniature brooms and we were like witches? We could do it like Halloween. We sweep it away for fall.
Can't. This would be amazing. I'm sorry. We should start a Saucha broom movement, like a new style. We should trademark it.
Yes. We'll do it in
The
spring.
Saucha spring sweepers.
Yes.
We know
We love alliteration.
All right, so clean it up, Farin. Take us to our conclusion. How do you end your class on Saucha?
Yeah. So when we're getting out of Shavasana, I would say, as you step off your mat, carry the essence of Saucha with you. Notice where clutter exists in your life, both externally and internally. And then take small steps towards cleanliness and purity, whether it's tidying your space, even that just means the top of your desk or just one cabinet, decluttering your mind through meditation, or nurturing positive thoughts. Embrace Saucha as a path toward clarity, peace, and a more balanced life.
That's beautiful. That's totally beautiful. So go to our website, themeweaversyoga.com/episode 14. As I said, the link is also in the show notes. Did you know that every time I go to say / I want to say /, by the way? My brain does not connect that line with a forward motion. It connects it with a backward motion.
So the top of the slash goes forward. The top of the slash goes away. That's why it's a forward slash. So maybe other listeners are thinking the same thing, but it's the top of it that is leaning forward.
Yes, leaning forward away from the bottom of an M. But my brain doesn't work that way. I guess I have a backward brain. But anyway, themeweaversyoga.com/episode 14. And request the inspo sheet for Saucha to help you bring this theme alive in your own voice and in your own practice and teaching. Then please reach out to us on all the socials, the email, all the things. Let us know how it's landing. Farin and I want to support you. We want your classes to feel amazing as you prepare and deliver them. So let us know how we can be the most supportive. Telling us you wanted peak pose conversations? Amazing. Keep telling us what you want.
Yes, and then tune in next week for another episode of Theme Weavers, where we'll help you feel prepared to go on and inspire your students in your next class. If you're unsure about the structure of how to weave a theme throughout your class, go back to episode 2. And until next time,
we weave you in peace.